I mean, we're still on the legal issues, and let's move on to Chairman Wontumi. As we also know, lawyers of Bernard Entry Boisiako, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi, is expected to make final attempts to secure his release from EOCO custody after claiming that the bail conditions have been met. Well, Mr. Wontumi has been in EOCO's custody for nearly a week over allegations of fraud, money laundering, and causing financial loss to the state, as well as separate probe linked to international organized crime. His lawyer, Andy Appiah-Kubi, told Joy News a fresh case filed by another lawyer has complicated his release. Let's listen to an interaction by Michael Ashale and his lawyer, Andy Appiah-Kubi, and I'll come back to you, lawyer Ahmed Musa.
We begin at the tightly secured premises of the National Intelligence Bureau, where a crowd of supporters massed to demand the release of Ashanti Regional Chairman of the NPP, Bernard Entry Boisiako, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi. At this time, he has been in the custody of EOCO since Tuesday. Leading the charge were senior figures of the NPP and minority leaders in Parliament. But even their presence wasn't enough to get access. Not even former Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia was allowed to see Wontumi.
I must put on record that the bail conditions that have been set for Chairman Wontumi's bail, 50 million Ghana cedis, is very onerous. I don't know how many people in Ghana can have property with 50 million.
Minority leader Alexander Fenyomarkin was left frustrated.
Did they allow you to see him?
Not at all, like I said. He's nowhere to be found. They claim they couldn't bring him. Here. And he's still in the custody of NIB at their Kaokudi office.
The focus then shifted to EOCO's headquarters, where Wontumi's legal team had relocated. His lawyer, Andy Appiah-Kubi, confirmed he now knew where his client was.
Oh yes, why not?
Where is he?
We had brought him to meet with Vice President, but the situation we saw was difficult to arrange this meeting, to pass through the crowd to get Vice President to see him and talk to him. So we had to take him back, and I told you that his condition of health requires attention.
After nearly 3 days of back and forth, the 50 million Ghana cedis bail and 2 sureties have been secured.
We have been able to provide the sureties. That one I can assure you. And I'm very grateful to Honorable Brian Champon, who has supported me to file the documents. He has brought his documents to which goes over and above the value of money that is required.
But even with that hurdle cleared, Chairman Wontumi is not walking free just yet.
Oh, well, obviously no.
So when?
I told you that we encountered a challenge. The challenge that needs to be addressed before we can go forward. In fact, they had agreed to do the inspection tonight. So all the officers are there. But the challenge that I faced is legal. We can't do it because, but I'm grateful to them. They agreed to wait for us to bring the documents for them to go inspect the properties.
So for now, the embattled Ashanti Regional Chairman remains behind EOCO's doors. For Joy News, Michael Ashale.
But even as these last-ditch attempts are made to release him, it has emerged that there will be more trouble for Mr. Wontumi as the Financial Intelligence Center begins to build its own case. Majority Chief Whip Roxy Nelson Dafiamapo revealed this on Newsfile on Saturday.
I'm even informed that the FIC is also preparing its own docket.
Financial Intelligence.
Thank you.
Center.
So this is not the first time that an accused person at this stage, a suspect, is investigated in respect of suspected offenses that is committed contemporaneously. Indeed, by practice, if a suspect is taken through initial police inquiry, a prima facie is established and prosecution commences. Prosecution always has the power, and there are statutes, to go back to court and vary or amend the charge sheet if further evidence emerged.
As we know earlier on, lawyers of Bernard Enchiboisiak, also known as Mr. Wontumi, filed a suit, against the Economic and Organized Crime Office and the Attorney General to vary the bail condition. Well, today we have, received information that another suit has been filed to withdraw that particular, suit. So it says that a notice of discontinuance, take notice that the applicant herein hereby wholly discontinues the application against the respondents. And so that's the latest coming in from Enchiboisiako's, issue there. We understand that his lawyers are also trying really hard to get him released today. Well, let's get back to head of the Ahmed Legal Consult, Musa Ahmed, who's still joining us via Zoom. And Chairman Wontumi's legal team, insists that the bail conditions have been met, yet he remains in custody of a EOCO. From your point of view, what does this mean? Is it a violation of his rights in any way?
Well, I wouldn't entirely call it a violation of his rights. Well, I would add that bail or the grant of bail is a fundamental right which is safeguarded by our Constitution, specifically Article 15 of the Constitution. Now, if he's been granted bail, conditions would have to be set according to Section 96 of the Criminal Procedure Act of Ghana, 1960. So those conditions, even though you have a right to bail, the law also says that conditions must be set. They set the conditions, and I believe that the overriding condition was for him to provide surety in the sum of 50 million Ghana cedis. If they say they have met the conditions or they have been able to obtain a surety that amounts to 50 million Ghana cedis, that is good news. That shows that the law is working. The accused person has been given the right, he has exercised his right. But as to why it is delaying, I have heard from other sources, including the media, that the delay was occasioned by a so-called motion for variation of bail that was filed by another lawyer. I wouldn't want to speak to that because I haven't seen any document to that effect.
Well, that has been withdrawn. That has been withdrawn.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it will still require that when you furnish security through a surety, the police will have to go and investigate. In some cases, if it involves a property, let's say a landed property, it means that it has documents. It must have a registered document in the name of the person who claims to be the owner of that property. And I know that by precedent, the police requires that they go to the Lands Commission to conduct a search. And when they conduct the search, they would have to know who the owner of the property is, whether indeed the person who claims to be the owner and is standing surety is the owner of that property. These processes ought to be complied with before they can act on the document and therefore the surety for the person to be released. I believe that they are undergoing these processes. That is why the bail has delayed. And probably too, the political interference in this matter is too much. It's too much. I think we need to speak against that.
Right.
The accused person has his his lawyer who is acting for him. Why are the politicians interfering in this matter?
Well, I think they were trying to help him secure his bail.
I doubt it. You don't help somebody to secure his bail by marching to go and occupy the very institution that is investigating the corruption or the crime. You don't go there. You don't.
What
You
does
have
that
work to
do? Are there any legal implications to that effect?
So in my opinion, they are interfering with the investigations. They are putting pressure on them.
Okay.
That is what they are doing. Why haven't they been doing it in the case of people who are arrested for stealing fowls and food? Why haven't they been doing that? Are those people not Ghanaians? Are they not human beings?
Fair point.
Why is Chairman Wontumi so special? What is special about him?
Well, with the Financial Intelligence Center also building its own case, how will this, might it be overlapping investigations by multiple state agencies affect the speed of the legal case ongoing?
Well, if you commit offenses, we have various laws in Ghana which empowers various institutions or authorities to investigate their own, findings, if you like, according to their laws. If you go to the United States, if you go to Britain, if you go to Nigeria, if you go to Togo, we have the same system applying there. EOCO may have its own law, which allows it to investigate economic crime. The Office of the Special Prosecutor has its own law, which allows it to investigate corruption-related offenses. The IFC has its own law, which allows it to investigate offenses relating to money laundering and so forth. So, in my opinion, nothing is duplicated here.
Right.
The state institutions are performing their functions, and they are doing so in the interest of Ghanaians.
All right. Thank you so much.
You are welcome.
Mr. Ahmed, he's head of Ahmed Legal Counsel, joining us on the legal issues on the